Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Success Secrets Reveal. Today we have an amazing show with you. We have Don Green from the Napoleon Hill Foundation with us. But first, I want to let you know how the show came to be and what Success Secrets Revealed is all about. Success Secrets Revealed came about because I have a radio show, 1.7 million reach, and because of COVID, what they did is they stopped manning the station and just running reruns. And while all my guests over the last 4 years were talented and the information was great, I felt that it was important to continue to interview business leaders and just great minds, but in the current of what was going on. So I'm going to take the audio out of here. I'm going to strip the audio out, send it, so it will be on the radio station. So our listeners will still get to see it. But now we also have the added benefit of the actual video as well being passed around through all the social media. I want to let you know that no guests get paid to be on this show. No guests pay to be on this show. I don't get paid to be on this show. This is just strictly we're all here trying to give back and help people who are either in business and want to scale, or they want to start a business and they kind of like want to figure out what to do and learn to navigate all the pitfalls with, listening to other people, what happened to them and how they got through them will hopefully keep you from happening to you, but also if it does, you'll know how to get out of there quicker. We do have one sponsor, and that's my company, RCS Online Solutions. And what we do is we help business owners and entrepreneurs. I mean, let's face it, we're all here to serve, right? And the more people we can serve, the better off the world will be. So what my company does is we get our customers and clients in front of their ideal customers and clients using various internet marketing techniques and methods, so they can find them and serve, consider them and then hire them so they can be served. Because if you're showing up on the internet for your name or your company's name, I'm here to tell you it doesn't matter. People are searching for products, services, or solutions to their problems, and that's what you need to come up for. So that's what we do. We get people on the first page of the search engines. So you can contact me at any time, Ron at RCSonlinesolutions.com. Anyhow, now, again, we're super excited to have with us Don Green. I'm going to read you his bio, and then we're going to go right into the interview. This is an amazing man with an amazing legacy in life. So a resident of Wise, Virginia, the birthplace of Napoleon Hill, Don Green brings nearly 45 years of banking, finance, and entrepreneurship experiences to his role as the executive director of Napoleon Hill Foundation. His first youthful business venture was charging admission to see his pet bear. I love that. Yes, the living, growling kind. Since 2000, Don Green has traveled worldwide and used his finance skills to grow the foundation's fund in order to continue the foundation's educational outreach. Don Green has both modeled leadership skills as a CEO and taught them through the PMA Science of Success course at the University of Virginia's College at Wise. Don specializes in discussing his personal experiences in leadership, improving attendance with proven methods of applying Dr. Hill's success philosophy to business. Please help me welcome Don Green. Good morning, Don. How are you?
I'm great, Ron. Glad to be with you this Monday morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. The guests, if they don't know who Napoleon Hill is, I'd be super surprised, but to actually have the CEO of the foundation on to share with us, and I know what PMA stands for, but I'll let you get into that and help educate the people and let them know about Napoleon Hill, how he came about, what's currently offered, and what's coming in the future. The vast majority of our guests are business owners and entrepreneurs, or those who want to be, and this is a perfect fit because everything that Napoleon Hill does can help every single one of our audience members. So can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and the Napoleon Hill Foundation?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. Ron, I absolutely love what I'm doing. I said, there's 350 million people across the United States. and I got this job. It's absolutely got to be the best job. You know, I'm gonna be 80 years old here in a little bit, and after working as a bank president for 20 years, I'm not doing this for money. Okay, I absolutely have a passion for what I do. We've sent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids to college, and that's what we'll continue to do as long as the man upstairs wants us to. I take care of myself. I walk 5 miles every day.
Wow.
I practice self-discipline, which seemed to come easy for me. I know the things that you're supposed to do and the things that you're not supposed to do. But my dad was a coal miner, 7th grade education. He and mom grew up during the Depression, and they believed in hard work. And I heard that 1,000 times. Hard work never killed nobody. But you know, I had a love for reading. I developed at an early age. We didn't really have books in the house. We had the Bible, but we had a good library in the school system and in a public library. And I love reading. But I also did everything imaginable. And initially, I made money because of a need to. My mom, when you ask for something or other, you get a story. Oh, honey, we can't waste our money. Your daddy has to crawl around them old mines. He may get hurt or get killed sometime. We got to take care of our money. Said, why don't you go mow some yards? Said, Uncle Lee paid you a quarter the last time you mowed his yard. And said, he'll pay you a quarter. Said, he's not got no boys. And so it was that, and picking up pop bottles at a penny a piece. I did so many things, selling the vegetables out of the garden, setting a little stand up side of the road, cutting Christmas trees. I sit there with a piece of paper way before Christmas break was, and I'm calculating how much money I think I can make while school's out. My mind was on the money, and it was a necessity. At an early age, I thought success was $1 million, gold Rolex, black Mercedes. And of course, you change as you get over it. And of course, them were goals I had when I was making $1.15 an hour, I believe it was, a little over $1.15 in the early 60s. But I was riding around as a collector for a finance company, getting 7.5 cents a mile for using my old 56 Chevrolet. But I was listening to cassettes. I was listening to Napoleon Hill, Zig Ziglar, Dennis Whaley, and those guys that was been here a little bit before me, or some of them still around, like Dennis Whaley, good friend. But I was absorbed in that material. And you know, one summer I worked some days in a coal mines up in West Virginia. My brother was 2 years old, almost 4 years older. He had driver's license, and we got a job making 75 cents an hour pulling mining steel out of coal mines. They would absolutely send an employer to jail for employing kids back in a mine with no safety precautions. But we tickled death to do it. But you know, in that day, I can recall it. Boy, this is hard work. It's about 40 inches high, which means you couldn't stand up. You forget and you hit your head against the ceiling. And something just said to me, Don, you know, people like your daddy, they work at underground mines and they make a decent living, I guess. But people that's really making good money is some people you've been reading about in them books, and they're using their mind. Yeah. And I vowed that I would get an education and I would learn what other people's doing. And I don't mean to boast or anything, but I've read thousands of books. And not only, when I found out Hill was from the area and reading his, I not only read his books and over and over and over, but I tried to read everything that he read to see where he got his information from. He read a guy, Orson Swett Martin, who had a doctorate and law degree from one of the Ivy League schools. He wrote books like Pushing to the Front, Every Man a King, and so forth, positive books. He read Samuel Smiles, who wrote the probably first self-help books. 1859, he wrote a book called Self-Help Psychology, and it's basically stories of people to overcome adversity. And I just kept reading. He read John Dewey's book, 1910, I believe, How to Think. He read Ralph Waldo Emerson's books, and he quotes him on Theory of Compensation. And he was an avid reader also. And Albert Hubbard, who died on that submarine when it was hit by, on a ship hit by a submarine in the beginning of the war, and he and his wife both drowned. Albert Hubbard, he read him, but he was an avid reader, and I mean from Shakespeare on down, and so over a period of time, I think it's a quote from Will Rogers, but I have a social media lady who works about 15 hours a week. She's also a college professor. She teaches social media. She has a couple of master's degrees. But she hung a little sign in my office one day while I was going to lunch. And it says, there are two ways we can learn. One of them is from books, and the other is being around people smarter than we are. Don Green. And I said, Lana, why come you to make that nice little sign? She said, well, Don, I've heard you say it 1,000 times. I said, yeah, and you'll probably hear me say it another 1,000 times. And I said, if you find out any way we can learn, except through books and from other people, I'd like to know what it is. I said, actually, Will Rogers said something real close to that. And if we don't read, we're like Mark Twain, who said people that don't read, well, they know better off than people that can't read. So it's necessary that we read. I mean, I got a book I did with Jim Stovall recently out called The Gift of Giving, and it's living a legacy rather than just leaving one. It's doing good deeds while you're still alive. And this lady remarked, oh, I love to read, but I don't have time. I said, now, come on, don't have time? I said, me and my friends, we did a cable TV company we had for a number of years, and it was very, very profitable. We sold out to one of the big guys. But I said, people watch TV on the average 5 hours a day. We don't have time to read. It's called we don't make time to read. We all got 24 hours a day.
Same day.
So to say we don't have time to read it's a matter of we don't put that much importance on it. Leave a book in your car. Leave one in the bathroom. Leave one on your coffee table. Put one where you're having breakfast in the morning. There's always a time if you got to wait or somebody on someone. I got a Think and Grow Rich in my car door in my side panel. I can always reach down there and get that and read someplace I've marked, or it looked like it's had a rough life, but it's been through so many times. But
I love it.
A difference.
Yeah, and today we even have audio. So I mean, like me, I've just been re-listening to 3 Feet from Gold from Greg Reed, the original version from 10 years ago. I just been re-listening to that. I just downloaded, I got it on my phone. I listened it to YouTube. I was in the gym this morning. So we have so many opportunities.
Absolutely. You know, in that one, I see, I had it out. Let's see. Yeah, I did a thing, I don't know where you can see it or not, but that's an advertising for Napoleon Hill in 1933 to speak it's February the February 15th, 1933, 8 p.m. In Baltimore. And that's sponsored, you notice, by R.U. Darby. That's where he got that story from. And also the little girl, I got to have that 50 cents. So that's your bit from reading once. I had the idea for that book, and I started, and I got Greg and Sharon been wanting to work with me to do it. And I said, it's just about persistence. If we learn the story of persistence and we practice that, I said, we're way, way, way ahead of probably 95% of the other people. You know, I read a lot. I read a book called Hillbilly Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. And he's got a chapter in there on persistence. And he tells the story of stopping to help a Dr. Bailey had car problems, and he asked him to come by his office. He did.
Dr. Bailey?
Yeah, I don't see you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, Dr. Bailey, he gave him Think and Grow Rich, and Billy Ray had recently been thrown out of college for having dogs in his room. And he said it was like a voice spoke to him and said, Billy Ray, buy you a guitar and start you a band, and so forth, positive. And his chapter was on persistence. And of course, we know he struggled for $50 a night, $100 when he could. Then he come out with that record, Achy Breaky Heart that girls like to dance with, and of course the rest of it was history.
Yeah.
But we read other stories, and that's the reason we read. We can learn how other people, and I mean, like Steve Harvey, read his book. He said he's read Think and Grow Rich 25 times. I met most of those people on Shark Tank. I think every one of them has read the book. I mean, the list is a mile long of the people that's read the book and what it's done for them. But it didn't take me too long to find out, discover that some of the most intelligent people around, most successful people, they had one thing in common. They were avid readers. Like Jim Stovall, I've published 5 books with him, and we're working on another one to be titled Dear Dr. Napoleon Hill. And in fact, it was Jim's idea. We discussed it, and he's doing the writing. He's letting people who's been successful write him a page or 2-page, and he's going to compile it in a book, probably be 50 or 60 individuals. And he's all the money will go to scholarships. He's not taking anything for it. He's devoting his time and talent. And we think it'll be interesting stories that people, some of them are sales distributors, some of them different walks of life, just explain the benefit of what Napoleon Hill's writings have meant to him. He's more popular today than he was when he was alive. He's been dead since 1970, 50 years ago. But his books we published with over 500 foreign publishers. There's 25 different Russian publishers that publish his works, 30 some in China. It's amazing. His books are published. We publish his books in Iran, Iraq, Macedonia, Armenia, you name it. And Napoleon Hill's books are there. And demand for them keeps increasing. And we license our course exclusive to in other languages. It's taught in many, many foreign countries. We call it the Principles of Success. And it's basically the course. About 20 years ago when I was working as a bank president, I saw the need to teach the course, and I approached the college and I organized a 3-hour credit course, and I taught it 12 times. And it's been taught over 20 years. I organized it and put it together and taught it. And Ron, we could write books on the success stories of students that took that course and the students that work with me. I could go on and on and on. I'm talking about doctors, pharmacists, accountants, and different walks of life, and entrepreneurs, people that took the class. And a lot of them took it as a night class for the simple reason they knew me in banking. The first class I taught, I had a CPA, and I had a pharmacist, I had a pediatrician, and I had an entrepreneur who became a partner later, and he sold his first business for $45 million. And he started out with a little business that took in $3 and something the first day. So the stories are, it's just amazing. The people that's taken the stories and taken the material and develop a mindset and done something other with it.
Now that's what it really, I think, comes down to, is developing and learning that mindset. Now you have the PMA, which is positive mental attitude, I believe. And
Yes.
If we could talk a little bit about that, but there are some people who might not really, believe it or not, even, understand who Napoleon Hill or what, he created. The book Think and Grow Rich is like it's like the grandfather. It's the book that probably, if you had every successful person in the world and you put them together, probably at least 70% of them, at least in the you say worldwide, have read this book. So it's, it has so much value to it. But can you tell people a little bit about who Napoleon Hill was, what the book Think and Grow Rich was, and then maybe we can talk also about positive mental attitude, and then we can maybe talk a little bit about individual books. I have both Sharon and Greg are going to be on today, as well as John Shin, and they've all done books and worked with you. So today's a big Napoleon Hill Foundation Day here.
Well, Napoleon's an interesting story. I'm just I've just been writing a book on the women in Napoleon's life and from bits and pieces of family. One of his grandsons is a doctor who's on our board of trustees, and I've got a wealth of information. It's just unbelievable at the information accumulated. He's an interesting story. Born in 1883, and his family was he said he used the term ignorant because they were uneducated, and grew up in, as a very, very undeveloped part of the country. But his mother died when he was 8 years old. His dad married again about a year, but he was fortunate. His new stepmother, she was a widow woman from her husband, but her husband had been a high school principal, local high school. She was a teacher herself, and her father was a medical doctor. So she was educated, and she come into the family. She changed things, and she told them, and she encouraged Napoleon, and she encouraged him to give up his six gun that he is notorious for, and got him a typewriter, which was a rarity in this part of the country. And she told him that with his imagination, he could write stories and he'd be known all over the world. And she enthused him. And that woman, her background and what all she did to him. So I've compiled that stuff into a book, and I've probably the Napoleon Hill and the women who supported him or something. But he had his birth mother, and then he had his stepmother who really put him on the road. And she saw lots of those books published. She didn't die until 41, so she saw all of his good first books published. But then when he was working in Washington D.C., he met a young lady, and through a newspaper ad, as Florence Horner, her uncle was governor of the state, and she stuck with him for 25 years. They produced 3 sons. The family supported him. They were well-to-do. They were in the utilities and lumber business and so forth. And I guess it cost him his marriage, because for 25 years he'd go anywhere for $100. He was so enthused about promoting this philosophy of success, as it had been called by Andrew Carnegie. His wife got tired of it. She divorced him, but she was in love with him. She never remarried. And she produced him 3 sons, one of them who grew up to be one of West Virginia's most decorated soldiers. He served in Korean War and World War II. In fact, I attended his funeral at Arlington, and the family produced amazing. One of the girls had 4 sons, which I've met. There were 3 doctors and 1 banker in the group, and then of course one of the grandsons is Dr. J.B. Hill. He spent 26 years in the Marine Corps, got his degree while going there, and came out and went to medical school at, I think he was 46, and he's still a practicing physician, and he's a valuable member of our board of trustees. So Napoleon continues to affect many, many people all over the world. And the course he developed, he was working with Mr. Stone. They wanted to teach the philosophy, and he called it PMA Science of Success, standing for Positive Mental Attitude. And basically it's the same course that we teach today, and we license it in a foreign country. It's been taught in the universities. We teach it online as an online course. And it covers some basics. And of course, we talk about positive mental attitude. No doubt people's attitude has a tremendous lot to do with them developing a successful life. But it all starts with number 1 is deafness of purpose. And even the good book tells us we must find our purpose. But most people go through life and never have one. And Hill described deafness of purpose as the starting point of all achievement. And it's something that each of us has to answer ourselves. And so many people are just going day to day, and they have nothing that they have goals for, nothing definite. They'll spend time planning a vacation next year, and they'll spend more time on that than they do on planning their life, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But in the book Think and Grow Rich, the chapter on desire at the front part of the book, he gives 6 steps to riches, and it starts off with what do you want, you know, at and of course you can say money, how much money or whatever, but you got to define it. But then the second thing he says, which people seem to skip, it says, what are you planning on giving to entitle you to what you desire in life? And we know it's a principle, it's sowing and reaping. If you're expecting something other, you got to do something another to get it honest, you know, and it goes back to nature, sowing corn and getting corn. And we have to do something for it. There's only one way to get money legitimately, and that's sell something other. We either sell ourselves or sell a product. And we can dance or ride or play sports or whatever, you have to sell ourselves. Or we can create a product, it don't matter if it's a hula hoop, if it's something other, a board game or something, you know, it's something other that people not necessarily needs. They need food, clothing, and shelter, but also mostly the market's driven by what people want. If you can create something that intrigues people's curiosity, that they'll exchange money for it, then you've found a life's, could be a life's calling if you get good at it. And of course, one of the other things he preached, which we had mentioned, which is persistence. And in some of his lectures, he used to ask, how many times on average do a person give up when they have an idea before they quit?
Yep.
The audience would holler, some would say 1, some 3, some 2, or whatever. He said, no. I said on average. He said the average is less than 1. Most people never start. They die with ideas in their mind, but never implement them, because he said most people are waiting till everything is perfect before they start. And guess what? And I run into it a lot of times on people on lifestyle course. They're waiting for this or they're waiting for that. But he says, start off from where you are. You'll meet obstacles along the way. You either find out what the solution is or you get someone to help you solve them. But people are waiting for everything's perfect, and things are never perfect. The thing is, he tells us, people say $1 million idea. Ideas in themselves are worthless until someone implements them. Don't matter what it is. The idea itself is worthless until you do something other about it to develop it. But he laid out a wonderful plan for success for people that can think, and for people who's willing to work hard and have a passion and have enthusiasm about what they're doing. I said, Ron, you can be a success at anything if you're willing to go to bed at night thinking about it, waking up thinking about it, and keeping it on your mind during the day and doing something about it, one step at a time. If you and I was in, let's say we're starting off in New York City and we want to go to Florida, we know we got to go south. That's the first start. But because we don't know all the stops and all the red lights and so forth, we can't sit there and talk about it forever. If we're going to get to Florida, we got to find out what mode of transportation, and we got to start.
Yep.
And we'll figure the rest of it out as we go along.
Yeah, I think that's important. So many people, a lot of feedback there, but so many people will get some information, but they'll never take that start. And it's like be, do, have. You know, I will be when, you know, be, do, have instead of have, do, be. You know, they get into that mindset that everything needs to be lined up and everything needs to be a certain way before they actually start. When, in fact, like you just said, the important thing is just to get started. And along the way, you'll figure out what, you know, you'll navigate it. Plus, there'll be other people there to help you. So I love the simplicity of it. Just get started. Turn off the TV. Yeah, you know, figure out what you want. Clearly define it. Take some steps to make it happen. And if for some reason that particular avenue didn't work out for you. Well, what you've learned along the way, it's not failure, because what you learned along the way will help you. Now you might have just changed course a little bit and started doing something a little bit different.
Well, you have to learn those things that don't turn out right. You can either learn them as lessons to keep going, or you can take them as it gives you to quit. But guess what? We have the choice, and it's important. And everyone it is. I know I gave a talk one time to a Chamber of Commerce, and to break, this lady identified herself as a school teacher. She said, "Oh, I have goals, but I don't write them down." I said, "That's what we call dreams. When we write them down, it becomes a contract with ourselves." I don't remember the exact verse, but there's a verse in the HAKs, how the chapter or the book in the Bible starts off with, said, if you have a vision, write it down and write it plainly. I think that's pretty good advice, because it's in front of us. I wrote my goals down, and I kept on a 3x5 card inside my coat pocket. So if I was waiting on Ron to meet you at lunch, I'd automatically reach in there and get that card, and I'd say, "Gosh, I've not done nothing about this one." And, "Oh, I got this one done." I scratch it out, and it give a good feeling. And I kept it in front of me. It's a constant reminder. You got to be doing something on them. And sometimes you didn't get it all done in 1 year. I can think of some drastic things, like I got a historical marker put up, which I'll take you out to it on the highway. And I've seen these historical markers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all the way across the state of Virginia. And I thought, that's something. I wrote them, and they said, "We don't put markers up just to individual people. They'll be dead 50 years, yep. And which was a polite no, but I didn't take no for the answer. So I found out what the Virginia Historical Society was composed of, and I got a list of their members, and I started calling them, and I got such things as, "Yeah, we'll see what we can do," and so forth. And I got 4 or 5 of them. "Well, yeah, we'll bring it up," which, tell me a polite no. And I got a hold of a guy in Culpeper, Virginia, who was county clerk. He said, "Oh, Don, I read that book. I read Think and Grow Rich." He said, I'll carry this for you." He said, "You got no problems." He said, "I'll bring it up and sell him on it." He's an important individual. And so they met some months later. He gets back in touch with me. Said, "Yeah, I got approval on the thing, but got to wait next year to put it up because our budget's shot." I told him, "That's no problem." I said, "Tell me how much it is, and I'll send you a check."
Nice.
And it's out on the highway, and it's been out there since the 90s. It don't matter where the people's from. Japan, I see the last one was Indonesia, about before the virus, or whether it's from Japan or Taiwan or China, Korea, or where they come from. Brazil, my good friends in Brazil that publish our books and sell our course, Jamil and my friend Marciel, they want their picture made at that marker.
I want my picture there. But what I love about that story is you took the no as a not now. You didn't take it as a no. It was not now. It was maybe not this person wasn't going to be able to help you, and you stuck with it until you found the person who would.
I got all kinds of publicity over it. I had 7 of his first cousins, Hill's first cousins at the villa. They're all dead at one, except my friend Glenn. He is 101 years old on July the 5th. In fact, he's on his 100th birthday. I interviewed him. He remembers Napoleon. He lived close to where the little church they attended. But we had a tremendous crowd turn out for the thing, TV, news people, and what have you, at the unveiling of that marker. And not too many years ago, I got a call from a guy that's head of the highway department in the area, Mr. Turner. And he said, "Don, they're giving me a retirement dinner, and I'd like to have you attend it." I'm thinking, well, gosh, what have I got to do with the highway department? So I told him, "Yeah, I'll be there." I went. And of course, some things came up. When I got the marker put up, I called and asked them, would they plant grass and all down there? You don't make it presentable. And called me back in a few days, said, "Hey, sent a man down there, but said, that land don't have no topsoil on it. Said grass won't grow." It'd been coal mined, if you know what that means. They took all the topsoil off, and it's just subsoil, and it was just a few weeds. And so I called my brother-in-law, who had a landscaping company, and I told him to haul topsoil down there. And he did, and spread it out, had the men spread it out. So I called them back and told them that I had topsoil put on down there. And would they go ahead and sow the grass? And I was going to do a flower program with the garden club ladies around that marker. So when people went by it, they could stop and have their picture made. And so when he introduced me that night, give me a nice plaque hanging on the wall here somewhere. He said, I want to introduce you to a man that does not know what the word no means. And so that's the reason he wanted me there. So Jim Stovall, somewhere or another, he picked it up about 4 years ago. He came down here and spoke to the students at Napoleon Hill Day, which we've been having for 20 years. And he said, that's what he said about it. He said, yep, he'd got to know Don Green. He said he understands he's the man that don't know what the word NO means. But Jim and I, we've had a tremendous relationship doing books. And it's all because of when he was going blind, Lee Braxton mentored to him. See, and this is the advantage of reading books. I read one of Jim's books, and he talked about being mentored by Lee Braxton. And Lee Braxton's a tremendous story in itself, but he delivered Napoleon's eulogy, and we have a copy of the eulogy. And so I called Jim and I said, Jim, did you realize that your mentor delivered Hill's eulogy? No, I didn't know that. And I said, I'll send you a copy of it. So one thing led to another, and so I published 4 of his books, which he gave me all the money for them. Called The Wisdom of Winners, and he has a column that comes out every Thursday, which is free. He's been doing it more than 20 years, and I've never read a bad one yet. You can go to Jim Stovall's Wisdom for Winners, and I said it's free, and he'll write on an educational topic. He's a financial genius, and like I said, he's written 48 books, and he told me the other day, and he had 4 or 5 others outlined. But he's going to finish this one, Dear Napoleon Hill, first, letting people spouse out what the writings of Napoleon Hill has benefited their lives, and maybe it'll help somebody else.
Plus, I love it. Don, we got like 8 minutes, 8 to maybe 10 minutes left, and what I'd love, I mean, you have had such an incredible life. You've been around so many successful people. There are so many stories. I wish we could talk for like 2 hours. I bet you we wouldn't even scratch the surface. But if there were 3 things that you could give, 3 pieces of advice coming from someone with like your vast knowledge and your experience, this is huge. So anybody listening now, live or on replay, right, get a pen out. If there are 3 tips or pieces of advice that you could give somebody who is either an entrepreneur or a business owner right now, so they could, achieve even greater success, or somebody who wants to be, what would be the 3 pieces of advice that you could give people now?
Well, I'm assuming these people are in business.
Or they want to be. Yep.
Become an absolute expert in what they do, and there's 2 ways they'll do that. It's reading and being around other people. And this material, it's not just for business people either. I mean, you go on YouTube and you can see the Reverend Charles Stanley. He reads a book every year, and the qualities that he teaches in there. And Jim told me the last time he had spoken to Billy Graham, Reverend Graham, he said, "What have you been reading?" He said, "I'm reading that chapter on going the extra mile." And of course, there's reference to going the extra mile in the Bible, where the people were complained about being forced labored, and they were told, when a man asks you to go a mile, go twain, TWAIN, which means twice. In other words, do more than is required of you, and you'll get favorable attention. So I don't know nobody that wouldn't help, but that's the one thing. I published the book, Napoleon Hill's Golden Rules, articles he wrote in 1919. He talked about our social and our physical environment. We can't do much about our color of our eyes and our hair and our physical makeup. We're 6'4" or we're 5'8". We come here with that. But the other one is our social heredity. We can change that. We can associate with people that we want to learn from. Some of the guys out there often use the term, if you want to be a winner, associate with winners. And he said, if you want to be a loser, guess what? Associate with losers. We do a lot of prison work, and that's one thing I noticed. People get out of prison, the recidivism rate is real heavy. because a good portion of them may go back to the same environment that led them to trouble to start with. So but they can change their social environment. They can for recreation or what, they can join Kiwanis as a Lions Club. They can get involved in the community. But I think that really the tale of all of it, we could discuss it for use of money if we had time. But I think with all of it in mind, and some of us it takes us longer than it does others. But we should always have in mind to give back. That's the reason the book, The Gift of Giving. We make a life by what we get, and and a living by what we make a living by what we get, and a life by what we give, and that's from Winston Churchill. And it goes out on all of our social media stuff at the girl who's head of development here at the college, which I'm president of, the fundraising part of the college. And we are one of the best endowed colleges in the United States. And what I mean is the amount of money we got that allows the students to graduate with a low debt load. We're always in the top 10 in the whole United States, and have ranked as high as 2 in the low debt that the student, which is a blessing that they can graduate owing very little money. And I think that should always be in mind is if I got a little sign on my table where I eat breakfast by myself. I've married 54 years and I lost my wife. But it just simply says, God, show me someone I could help today. In Jesus' name, amen. And I'm telling you, there's not a single day goes by. If towards the end of the day, if I can't think of something other that I've done that maybe would help somebody out, I'll sit down and sign a book and send it to somebody. It's on my mind, or something, do something another before the day's out. And I think that's I think that's the happiest people on earth, is people that make a time to where they can get. That's what I admire about people, not the money, but people like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. We can learn a lot from them, but the things that they've done to make the world a better place with the use of their money. And I think they're to be admired for the good works they've done.
I love. You have make sure that we cover this. We've got like 4 minutes left, but we have naphill.org is a newsletter that you guys put out. I believe you said every week.
Yes.
Every Thursday, so people can go to naphill.org and sign up for your newsletter that goes out every week. And I mean, Napoleon Hill's teachings and readings, and just I love what you said about like we can't change necessarily where we were born, but like our associations, associate with other people. You can choose where you associate. You can go to different places. Don't ever be the smartest person in the room. I mean, a lot of what I've learned and I can hear it in, like when you talk in generalities, I can hear how other people have taken that and then, like never be the smartest person in the room. Your income will be within like $2,000 of the top 5 people that you choose to spend your time with. Masterminds are a great opportunity. So, the things that you're talking about are so tried and true and tested, and they all started pretty much with the granddaddy of all of it. I mean, even before Earl Nightingale, he probably learned from Napoleon Hill too.
Oh yeah, we all learn from each other, and I often have said was, if a monkey can learn from another monkey, surely people can learn from other people. And
some.
That's absolute truth. I mean, just from reading a book. I just finished a book someone sent me on Booker T. Washington. I finished it last night. I was doing something else, and I took a break, and then I'm reading a book. It's number 2 I noticed on the bestseller list, and it's called Think Like a Monk. And now I can remember the interview with Albert Schweitzer in Africa when he was asked, "What's wrong with people today?" And he said, "They don't think."
Yeah, and thinking's free, right? I think there's a sign that says thinking is free, think. But yeah, I love it. And this is tremendous. My only regret is I wish we just had more time, because there is endless information, and just the associations that you've had and the education that you've gotten from reading all these books and stuff. I mean, geez, I wish maybe we can, maybe in a couple of weeks or a month, if your time allows, we can have you come back and maybe, focus on whatever else, different from what we spoke about today, because I could tell you just have so much to offer the world, and I'd love to give a platform.
A lot of people think it's outdated, but I recently ran across a piece. Of course, I've seen it before, but Hill wrote a piece on intolerance over 100 years ago, and boy, is it ever appropriate today. And basically, what the little short essay said was that he hoped today came about when we were not known as Jews, Catholics, or Gentiles, or where we was not known by the color of our skin or by our race and so forth, and so that we would be simply known as brothers and sisters. And boy, couldn't we ever use that today?
Absolutely.
That basically we shouldn't be judging people because they're a man or a woman, or because of their accent or where they're from or what their religion they got on. That we're all kin, and we're matured when we can do that. And I said it was on intolerance, and he wrote that over 100 years ago, and it was like, golly, that was needed in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he was way ahead of his time.
Yep, Booker T. Washington. I might go read that too, but I'll be honest with you. I'm going through all the Napoleon Hill books that I've read before. Like I told you earlier, I'm reading Think and Grow Rich again. I mean, I'm listening to 3 Feet from Gold. Then I'm going to do Outwitting the Devil again, and Think and Grow Rich. And there's like 5 books that I just going to redo again, and then just start to listen to some other new stuff. But I want to tell you, thank you so much for being a guest. I know you must have literally thousands of requests a week or a month, and it's only so much time in a day. And I'm grateful so much for you to come on here and enlighten our listeners and offer the free. They can sign up, and then also you give your email. Your personal email is napoleonhill@uvawise.edu. That's napoleonhill@uvawise.edu.
And Ron, I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it 1,000 times more. People always ask me what I should invest in. Of course, I'm sure they're talking about something in the stock market, but I don't give that kind of advice. I give every one of them the same advice, and that simply is the best investment they'll ever make is the investment they make in themselves.
I love it.
The second best investment they'll ever make is in their employees or their family, and there's no better money invested than when invested in ourselves. It'll make the highest returns, I assure you.
Yep, I love it. Thank you so much, Don. I really, really appreciate it. Anybody who hasn't read Think and Grow Rich or isn't familiar with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, I highly recommend it. I mean, you can even just get their newsletter and start there, get their audio books. We all have time. Turn the TV off, listen to, get up an hour early, go to bed a half hour later. I mean, do whatever you got to do, because once you start listening, learning, and then implementing these things that you're going to learn and you're going to hear and learn, your life will get better personally, professionally. So it's just pure benefit. So I highly recommend everything related to Napoleon Hill Foundation. And Don, thank you so much again for.
You're very welcome. And social media is very important. Getting the message out. He told us growing up, build a better mousetrap and they'll be the path to your door. Yeah. They won't, if nobody knows you got the mousetrap, you got to tell them, and you got to tell them again, and you got to tell them again. Exactly. So the social media is extremely important.
Yeah, get the word out, do lives, do whatever you got to do. Don, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your time today.
Send me a link, and I'll send it to my social media lady.
Absolutely. I'll send you links of everything, of all this, the blog articles, everything that we post with this video. Thank you so much, Don. Bye for
Thank
now.
you very much. I enjoyed it.